See that chapel over there?
Uh-huh.
That's the John Foster Chapel, and that's the first church.
Uh-huh.
And that is on the historic register for Pompano Beach. The First Baptist Church over here, not the existing structure, but it was started in 1915. So
Let's walk up this way.
2015, that'll be 100 years old.
Right.
So the first memory that I have was that corner over there had the Army Surplus building. It was a pretty large building. Now that First Baptist Church has acquired that property and made a parking lot out of it, but this was the pharmacy. Charles Barger took it over from Mr. Mo Hirschman, that was the original owner of the Pompano Pharmacy. The Walton Hotel was over there, and the Walton Hotel had businesses in the front, little storefronts, and it was like a 3-story hotel that I remember.
Let's go across the street.
And the Pompano Pharmacy was here in this bank building, and the point of interest that I always thought about, they had the original vault in here. I don't know where it went, but the vault from the bank was in here. And then the next bank that Pompano had was built up the street here, the Farmers Bank, about 4 blocks from here on the corner, and which is not a bank building anymore. And then the Bailey building, it's always been an interesting looking building because of the front of it and the architecture.
The Bailey Hotel is one of the really important historic buildings in Pompano Beach. Because of its place in the development of Pompano Beach, as well as its age, the Bailey Hotel is probably in the downtown area the second oldest building that still stands, just after the bank building right next door. And it really marked the development of Pompano's downtown into a real downtown.
It was always there. We rode our bicycles by it on the way to the theater and on the way to the beach. We had a lot of exploring we did at the Pompano Canal, which is right down the street. And the Bailey Hotel was just part of the structure of the town that we grew up in, like Mayberry was for Andy.
What did this look like when you came up here before?
A dump. It was really bad. There was a lot of pigeons nesting and a lot of pigeon waste and junk and graffiti.
Here's a skylight.
And that really brightens things up.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Lee Crowell, and I was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1952. I lived in Florida as a snowbird for many years before we settled here permanently at 14 or 15 years old. When you look at the buildings in Old Pompano, it signifies a way of life that that was good. It was slower paced, very slow paced. A lot of times in the summertime, you go to a business and there'd just be a note on the door, "Gone fishing."
There was very little here that we thought. There was a great deal that we didn't realize, like the freedom that we had, the exploring every day into, I mean, you didn't have to go very far to be in the wilderness around here. You'd leave within a half a mile, you were down in tomato farms off of Cypress.
We have to remember that the old downtown in Pompano is probably the largest contiguous collection of historic buildings in Broward County.
Would you like to paint up here someday?
Oh, I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
The CRA's intention to make this sort of an artist studios and galleries will really reposition the downtown into kind of an arts and culture and entertainment district which is probably more viable than as a retail or commercial district, and will bring more people into the area and spur more development of the use of these historic buildings. So it's certainly a win-win, and I think the CRA's action is very forward-looking in combining preservation and development, which is usually a good way to go.
I came to the Pompano Green Market and parked in the back and was walking down the alley, which was looking rather creepy at the time. I think it was an overcast day, but I happened to see that window. It just stuck in my mind, and I said, I think I want to paint that. There were so many things that you could read into that window. Are you looking out to the future? You're looking inside, looking into the past. Years ago, I guess this was built in the 20s, but they used to use Dade County pine. And Dade County pine was so hard you can hardly pound a nail into it. And I think that probably helped preserve a lot of this building.
Right.
And then I don't know if anybody noticed, but how much the Historical Society has told you that this, before they had cinder block, that's the type of block. This terracotta block over here is what they used.
All right.
I admire architecture of any kind, but my heart tends to go to the details that were put in old buildings, and I like to preserve that. When you preserve an old building, you preserve memories for people as well.
Val's was right here, and I can't remember exactly which bay, but Val's barbershop was here, and then around the block was Arnold and Dutch's barbershop.
Tell me a story about Val's. You said something about, you told me a story about a...
About the mongoose?
Yeah.
About when I was young and first in Pompano Beach, they always catch you on a joke when you're new in town, and they asked me if I knew what the mongoose was and showed me this squirrel tail in a cage, and when I went to look at it, they jerked the tail and it made me startle, and that was the joke on the newcomer.
We went through it as a tour in the 2nd grade, and it was really neat.
You did?
Yes, which would have been about in the early 40s.
So you were probably 8 years old walking around here. And...
Right. Fascinated. All eyes.
Well, my best memory of this is a painting that I have of a photo that was taken in the good business years, and Charles Lewis painted me a painting of this building, and I really cherish that and a memory of a time when it was, you know, being used and a going business back then.
It's really something, huh? Just getting it refurbished again.
Well, it's exciting to think that it can be a vibrant place again, because it's just so fresh in people's minds for over the years that it's been a dead place, a dead spot, and for it to have life again is amazing to me.